Glad to have you along on this Thursday night as the Bulldogs get ready for another home game this weekend as they host the Governors of Austin Peay State University. They'll be in town for a 3:30 kickoff for the 1-0 Bulldogs and 1-0 Austin Peay as well. Coach Smart is here and signing some footballs and greeting our audience tonight. Our friends from United Bank are here. Thank you, folks, for being here tonight. And, Coach, how's the week been?
It's been great. Getting a little warmer as the week's gone on. I thought the guys were in good spirits Monday. We had a good practice. Tuesday was good, and then Wednesday and today they've been getting after it, and there's been some growth, and we're going to continue to improve. That's our goal, is to keep elevating. That's the goal.
Austin Peay comes in, second meeting ever between these two schools. You saw them 7 years ago, I think it was, in 2018. They've got a different coach now and an entirely different team, as most schools do after 7 years. Heck, most schools have a new team after 1 year now. The way it's working, and that's kind of the situation with Austin Peay again. A lot of transfers, a lot of new faces on this roster coming in. How's your preparation for those guys been?
It's been good. The guys respect them. I think it really helped the fact they beat Middle Tennessee last week. We know Middle Tennessee State. They've got a good program. They jumped on them and attacked them. They would have had a much better record last year. They lost their quarterback, and I think that affected them. But they got some good transfers in, and they played two quarterbacks last weekend. They actually played us really well last year defensively. The defensive coordinator was at Tennessee Tech, who we played, and he caused some problems for us doing some stunts up front. So we will see that style of defense again.
I want to ask you some of the news of the day. Today, the NCAA Football Oversight Committee voted to support a single transfer portal. This is according to multiple reports now. And this report says the 10-day window is expected to open January 2nd. This is a good thing, something you like, if they reduce it to just one portal for the year in 10-day period?
I mean, it's good and bad. It goes back to, I think everybody assumes coaches want one, players or recruits want two. I don't know that it's completely beneficial for anybody. I would vote based on the circumstances on having one and having it on that date. The first question everybody asks is, well, why do you got to have it then? Because a lot of coaches strongly wanted it out of the playing season. Well, so do I. But unfortunately, fortunately, we have an academic calendar, and so it can't be perfect. So if you want the portal outside the playing season and say play your entire season and then allow people to move, well, the academic calendar doesn't follow that. And kids are going to move. It's inevitable. They're going to move. They're going to leave. 98% of college football is done by the date of the portal. I think there'll be 4 teams left, and I certainly hope we're one of those 4 teams. We have been one of those teams at times, and it heavily impacts you when you're playing and all this is going on. But until we solve or move the season up and get the playing season over by going week 0 and try to get where there's 2 teams left that are dealing with the portal, it's going to be hard to fix. And the fix is having one portal. I do think people will say, you know what, we don't have the second portal in the spring where a kid could transfer and leave. For us last year, LO. We were able to gain LO, and I can't remember who else we got. We got a couple other guys in the second portal. That window's now gone. So you got to do a really good job of what you need and who's leaving your program and who's coming in, because there's not a second window.
What was the situation like this past December when you had all that stuff going on at once? You had recruiting signing period going on. You had preparing for postseason. You had the portal. I mean, everything.
Well, that's not changing.
Was happening at once
Right.
in December. It may move to January now, right? If this report is accurate.
It was happening regardless. So the portal was in a little bit of a different time. It opened different. They're going to open it a little later. But what's going to happen is come December, if I'm not playing or I'm not happy with my playing time, kids will start announcing they're going in the portal. The portal won't be open, but they'll announce they're going in the portal. We're still going to have signing class in December. So they really didn't change. December is absolutely chaotic. That didn't prevent that from being chaotic. Now, if they truly make it a dead period and you can't have visits on campus, kids aren't coming to visit during the playoffs and things like that, it's not going to open up until a little bit later than it has in the past. So it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. There'll be good and bad out of it. I think what you'll find is a lot of people are going to get cold feet and say, oh, it's my only chance to leave. I got to leave now. I can't leave in the spring. I got to go now. And if it makes more kids leave, then it's not good. But we'll see how it works out.
All right, we'll take some questions from social media tonight, too, for Coach Smart. Hashtag Ask Coach Smart is how you get them to us each and every week. Bulldogs Live is presented by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll step aside for just a moment. We'll get to some more questions for Coach Kirby Smart here on Bulldogs Live right after this on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Georgia fans, it is here. Play the first ever Georgia Bulldogs Scratcher, and you could win up to $300,000. Georgia Jackpot is on sale now at lottery retailers statewide. Visit galottery.com for more details. The Georgia Lottery, when you play, Georgia students win. Welcome back, Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart, presented by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And we've got some questions from our guest audience tonight as well. And let's take one of those. This is Ford. Hi, Ford. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much. Coach, how does the day-to-day life of an athlete compare to when you were playing?
Whoa. It's different. I don't know how to really describe it. I mean, I felt like we were getting by. I mean, for one thing, we had 5 classes, and so we took 15 hours, and there was 5 classes, so basically you had 3 classes a day. They were all in person. There was no such thing as online. So a lot of our kids are in online classes. I think maybe 40 to 45% of our classes are now online, so they have a little more time over in the building to rehab, watch tape, to do other things, to go to study sessions. So the lifestyle is just different for them. Most of our players live off campus. They live by themselves. We lived in dorms. We lived with each other. There was a greater connection, I think, because of the financial ability and stability of the players to go out and get an apartment. And not only get an apartment, they don't even share an apartment. They live by themselves, that it creates a little different growth environment for them. I always worry about them because a lot of them are the breadwinners in their family. So they end up a lot of, I don't want to say mental health concerns, but when you're the breadwinner and you feel the pressure to do that, perform, and you're criticized on social media, fairly or unfairly, all the time, it's a different lifestyle than what we had. We didn't have near the pressure that these kids face, and I hate that for them. We also had it physically a little tougher with 2-a-days back-to-back for 12 days. They don't even get 1 2-a-day, and we had 12 in a row. So I'm still waiting on some kickbacks from that.
Ford, thanks for your question tonight. I appreciate our friends from United Bank being here this evening. Let's grab a question from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. This is from Gary in Savannah. What was the favorite thing you saw from the team on Saturday?
The cheering for each other. The fact that each group was like cheering for the next guy that got in. They were pulling for each other. They were so happy for some of the kids that got in because they see the work they do. That was the thing I love the most. I mean, there was a lot of good energy and enthusiasm. Obviously, when you score, you get excited, but there were so many other little things that guys felt the reward of seeing a teammate or a walk-on do something great.
Steve in Suwanee, Georgia, wants to know how you keep the guys focused regardless of opponent.
Well, it starts in the off season. I mean, there's no magic remedy for that. I mean, like the focus and attention it takes to be a great player or to develop is a moot point compared to who you're playing. So if you worry about what you can control and your development, your growth, it's not about who you're playing. And we try not to make it about the opponent ever.
Is this a tight-knit group, in your opinion? Are you seeing that it's come together? Everybody seems to get along with one another, support one another, all of that?
Yeah. I mean, they don't live together.
Yeah, you said that.
They all care about each other. They live in this building together. If you ask the kids, they would say they're over here 24/7. So they do live together because they spend a lot of time in this building. And I think that's a bond within each class that's special. And then they bond across the position groups, and then they bond in their skull session groups. So there's a lot of bonding going on there.
Sean in Elberton, Georgia, wants to know, when you get a stat sheet at the end of a half or game, what is the first thing you look at?
I tend to look at rushing yards. both for and against, and then third downs. And then after that, usually special teams. I mean, most of the time but you don't know the exact numbers. So it's nice to look and say, how are we doing on third down? Are we converting them? Are we not? I mean, the same numbers that I look at post-game, I look at halftime.
What were your thoughts on the rushing yards from last week?
Much better than the total in the second half. I'd set a goal for them at halftime to what we needed to come in and say it was at the end of the game, and we ended up one short of that. But they responded well to it and did some good things.
Georgia and Austin Peay are coming up on Saturday afternoon. It's a 3:30 start. It's at Sanford Stadium. The dog walk will take place at 1:15. So make your plans accordingly, Georgia fans. This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. We're taking your questions tonight from social media, #AskCoachSmart, and from our friends from United Bank here as our guest audience. And dog fans, be sure to check out the G-Shop at GeorgiaDogs.com for exclusive releases of Nike Game Day official apparel, just like the coaches wear. Visit GeorgiaDogs.com and the G-Shop today. We'll step aside for this timeout. Back for more with Coach right after this on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Thanks for being with us tonight. Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart, and your questions from social media and from our audience. And if you're looking to elevate your game day experience, the perfect way to do that is to visit UGAexperiences.com. You can be the person who retrieves the tee after a kickoff or purchase getting your picture taken with UGA on the field. These adventures are available now for the Austin Peay and the Alabama game. That's UGAexperiences.com. That's the place you need to go. All right, this is Kate with a question for Coach Kirby Smart. Hi, Kate.
Hi, my question was, what is your go-to pregame meal?
Kate, I don't. We are required to eat the pregame meal with the players. So we have a very in-depth pregame meal that we always have steak, we always have potatoes, we always have pasta bar, we always have a salad bar, we always have fruit. Along with the steak, we have chicken. And as you can tell, I eat it all. So they do a really good job with that pregame meal. It's funny because all the years I worked for Coach Saban, it was a tradition that you didn't matter if you played at noon or you played at midnight, you had the same pregame meal. So you eat the pregame meal 4 hours prior to kickoff. So if the game's at noon, pregame meal's at 8. If you play at 8 o'clock at night, the pregame meal's at 4. Didn't matter when it was steak, potato, and eggs. And you'd have eggs in the evening. But our players have changed so much. They just, like some guys that have butterflies in their stomach. I remember Roquan Smith always having butterflies in his stomach. He didn't play well unless he threw up before the game. So it didn't matter what he ate because he'd go in the bathroom, make himself throw up, and then he'd go out and play extremely well. But a lot of our guys eat ramen noodles. A lot of our guys have a smoothie or have a shake that the nutritionist makes. So it's basically made to order whatever you want. But your question's about mine. I like steak, and they have chicken parm, so I usually get a small steak and a little piece of chicken parm. Thank you for your question.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Kate.
Since nobody else in the audience will ask one.
We've got one from Terry from #AskCoachSmart. Terry in Chamblee, Georgia. For the fans that may not know anything about Austin Peay, he wants to know what they should expect.
Extremely disruptive defense. They have small, quick players. They're undersized like most schools their size, but they are really quick. They take chances. They slant and angle. It's actually sometimes harder for a big, massive offensive lineman to get underneath these guys. I mean, there's times that I can't see their numbers on tape because they're so low to the ground and they play with such low pad level. They do a great job. They play really hard, well coached. Offensively, they've got 2 or 3 transfer receivers. They've got athletic quarterback. One of them came from Mississippi State. They played multiple quarterbacks last week, and I thought both of them were more athletic and could escape better than the kid we played last week, who came in and broke like 3 or 4 tackles. So we're trying to show improvement tackling, but I think their quarterback is a really good player.
That's our look ahead, brought to you by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. The penalty for getting a DUI can cost up to $10,000. That's why the Governor's Office of Highway Safety says drive sober so you won't get pulled over. All right, another question from #AskCoachSmart. This is from Rick here in Athens. What do the blue helmet skull caps signify at practice?
Well, we don't have them, so they're not there anymore. For a while, they're in camp. They signified the the guys who played with fire, passion, and energy. So we wanted to reward them. And blue, to my unbeknownst to me, is the hottest color there is. So I'm not a science
Really?
guy, and I didn't know that. I would have thought red, but blue is the hottest color there is. So we decided if we wanted to create passion, fire, and energy, we would have a blue hat put on their heads. And those guys kind of rotated around. Coaches picked out guys, and strength coaches picked out guys who embodied what we wanted to. So we put some on some guys.
About how many were distributed?
It just varied. I mean, the strength staff picked out some, and then we had position coaches of the opposite position. So the DB coach picked out some receivers, receiver coach picked out some DBs, O-line coach picked out D-line, D-line coach picked out. It's always good to come from the guy you compete against every day. So I thought that was really good, and the coaches got up and said a few words about them. So I don't know. We've had 5 to 7 throughout camp.
Georgia in Columbus, Georgia, has this question. What are your thoughts on Gunner's level of play so far?
Did some really nice things last game. I mean, I think what if Gunner had not been our quarterback last game, would we have gotten sacked? Quite possibly. He extended plays. He turned some really, really possibly poor negative plays into positive plays, which I think that's the elite quarterbacks, the quarterbacks who do really good things. They can kind of have escapability and create plays when maybe you were wrong or the defense was right. And he was able to do that sometimes. There were other times that I think that the pressure spooked him, that he's like, you know what, I got to stand in there when it's a good pocket and make throws. So it was good and bad, and I was proud of the way he played. The 2 runs were really big time plays.
Yeah, he's got some moves there, and he seems to be really good at the mesh point with the football as far as riding the back and either keeping it or letting the back have it. That seemed to go pretty well in the game last week.
Yeah, it did. He did a great job. It's something they work hard on, and he's done it all his life. I mean, he worked on that as a young player growing up.
Yeah, he had a ton of yards in his high school career, didn't he? He was, I think, over 4,000 yards rushing in high school, and his high school numbers were just crazy, both passing and running the football. This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. We're taking your questions from hashtag AskCoachSmart on social media. Also, our friends from United Bank are here. We'll take some questions from them, if they have any, as we go along through the last half hour of the show. Georgia fans, if you want to do an NIL deal with a dog, go to georgiadogs.com/NIL. Connect with a student athlete on a sponsorship, a commercial, an appearance, autograph session, and more. georgiadogs.com/NIL. We'll take a timeout here. Back after this break here on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Bulldogs Live, presented each week by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. Coach Kirby Smart taking your questions tonight. Hashtag AskCoachSmart on social media, and from our guest audience here. And we've got an audience question right now from Brent. Hi, Brent. Welcome to the show, and go ahead with your question.
Coach Smart, what is your favorite moment or memory from any game from over the last 10 years here at Georgia?
These questions, man, I don't know how to answer that one. That's like, there's so many moments. Last 10 years moments. I mean, obviously the big ones, to me, the SEC championships are some of the most special because they're so hard to get and come by, and obviously the national championships. But, I don't know that I can pick just one. I mean, there's so many that matter, like, if I had to pick one, I'm going to say the 2 national championships because it's the best memory. You're on top. You did something hard, the undefeated season. I was really proud of that team the year before, the undefeated team, because they overcame more. They had that loss in the SEC championship, and then to bounce back and get it. So they overcame a lot. Like I said, I have to pick one of those. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Brent. Danny in Dalton, Georgia, sends in this one. Any idea what Z branch? There are 2 Z branches on the team.
Yes, there are.
What Z branch would run in the 40-yard dash? So either Zachariah or Zion.
They are both fast, and it's funny when they go against each other in practice, or Zion has to tackle Zach. It's always funny to me. It's just weird that they're brothers, and they're not really built the same, built very different, but they're both great competitors. They probably would both run sub 4.5. I mean, they're fast. guys, and they grew up track guys, so they love track. They love training. They love to run, and they love to compete, and they love football. So I'm really happy that they decided to join our family, and their family is part of our family, and they're workaholics. Now they love it.
Have you seen the competition that you mentioned between the siblings there, or is it just against other folks?
Yeah, it's mostly against other folks. I think they try to avoid going against each other, and they don't. I mean, it's rare they pair up against each other, but it does happen.
Kirk in Atlanta wants to know, is there anyone that stood out on defense in your mind in the Marshall game?
You know, I don't know that anybody played enough snaps to really stand out. I think the most snaps we have is around 30-something. A couple guys had mid-30s. Raylan played a good game, but he played, more snaps than some of the other guys. So I don't know that anybody stood out. I was proud of KJ's play and some of the things he did. I was proud of Raylan, like I talked about, and I thought Christian Miller really ran to the ball hard and chased the ball down. But, only good things to come from those guys if they keep running to the ball.
KJ Bolden got credit for the blocked punt. Did Cash Jones get a piece of that at all?
We think both of them did. It's funny because it's hard. You rarely see that, but KJ got it first and barely got it, and then Cash got a piece, so it was a double deflection, which you rarely see.
Does he get credit for that too, statistically, or does it just go to the first guy?
Good question. I've never seen that. I don't know the answer to that.
That's what we were trying to figure out, because we thought it was Cash just from the angles of the replays. We couldn't see anything definitive, but it was a good play. It was a nice play.
Both of them, they worked hard at that.
Brian in Bogart, Georgia, how much do you think this offense will lean on the vertical passing game?
Well, a lot of it depends on how defenses play us. I think people think it's in a vacuum or static. If a corner plays 9 or 10 yards off, there is no vertical passing game. So it depends on how they play you. If they press you and they're up in your face and taking chances, then you'll see vertical passing game. But the defense dictates some of that. I mean, if a guy plays so far off, you can't throw it over him. Some fans will say, well, they don't have a vertical passing game, but you can't throw it past a guy standing with a 10-yard head start. So it'll be dictated by how the defenses play.
So the general rule is you take what the defense is offering.
Yeah,
what they're giving you.
That, or you got to block for 15 minutes and try to outrun a guy with a 15-yard head start. I mean, it's just hard to do. So you got to have underneath, intermediate. You got to make them come up. And most teams we'll play in the SEC, they play aggressive style, and they're going to be, on you man-to-man, taking short, intermediate stuff away.
Paul in Ridgeland, Georgia, wants to know, has there been any chippy battles between our O-line and D-line at practice?
There's always chippy battles. I mean, day in and day out, there's scout players trying to move up the depth chart that are chippy with the older guys. You got chippy in camp sometimes, but that's pretty common. I mean, you're in a sport as physical as football that, guys are going to push and shove or say something or do something after the play, but we try to control that because you can get bad habits that carry over into the game and they cost your team.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you have rules for that to avoid getting into those situations.
I don't know about rules, just respect your opponent, respect your teammate, and that's the biggest thing.
Do the players usually break it up when something like that breaks out, or the coaches have to get involved and separate and all that stuff?
Sometimes both. I've learned I've aged out of that requirement. I let other people handle that, and I've seen some coaches catch some elbows before that knock them out.
Ooh, TJ in Alpharetta, Georgia. Did we meet our offensive and defensive goals last week?
Some of them. I think we met like 10 or 12 or 15 on offense, and then 8 or 9 of 12 on defense. We missed a few. Defense, we didn't make our turnover goal. We didn't make our a big play goal. We gave up a couple late that cost us our pass our yards per catch. We didn't make because of some late stuff. Offensively, we made most of them. We didn't make our third down goal and a couple other things.
Good on fourth down also.
Yeah, that's what. If you're not good on third, you better be good on fourth.
3 for 3, and a couple of scores on fourth down.
Yeah, that's big.
That was nice work. Thanks, TJ, for the question. We appreciate you sending those in. You can do so all season long. Hashtag AskCoachSmart on social media, and we'll try to get to your questions each and every week here on Bulldogs Live. It's time for a timeout. We'll come back for more questions for the coach right after this on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Coming up top of the hour, we'll turn it over to the Bulldogs All-Stars. They'll take your calls and your questions for another hour of Bulldog football talk. So that's coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. And right now we're taking questions for Coach Kirby Smart. Hashtag Ask Coach Smart on social media. And from our audience, our friends from United Bank are here tonight. And this is Matt with a question. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Scott. Coach, go Dogs.
Thank you. Go Dogs.
Do you think the players' motivation is different from the players of 20 years ago?
Do I think the current players' motivation is different than the players 20 years ago?
Yeah, the way that you get them motivated.
I don't think that's completely different. No, I mean, I think the number one motivation is most kids that I played with and most guys that play now, they want to make the NFL. So that's a very common motivating factor. Some of the differences would be, does the income or the NIL they receive affect their motivation? But the way we motivate them and the way you go about motivating them, I don't think it's changed, because to motivate someone, they have to, ultimately they have to want to do it themselves. And it always comes around full circle to what inherently is that person like? Like do they require motivation from me, or do they have it like within themselves? And that's what we try to recruit, is people that are motivated to be great regardless of income, NFL, academics. We're trying to find the people that are motivated, that can do it themselves.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Matt. Thanks for being here. Daniel in Bogart, Georgia. Hashtag Ask Coach Smart. Among our defensive leaders, who would you say is the most vocal?
Probably C.J. Allen and Christian. They're probably the most vocal. Dalen might be included in that, but you get one from all three levels, one from the front, one from the middle, and one from the back end. But it's not controlled by any just three people. I think so far it's been by committee and players holding players accountable. And part of that is like you being open to being criticized if you don't do it right. So if Christian or CJ don't do it right and somebody's holding them accountable, they got to accept that criticism. And that's a big part of having the right culture, within your team.
Does that vocality, if that's a word, I don't know if it is or not, but does that take place off the field too with these guys that are leaders? I mean, it's not just on the field during practice or games, but there can be off-field situations where they speak up if there's something going on.
Yeah, I mean, you want it to carry over that, but they don't spend a whole lot of time together. It's just who they are. They live independent lives, a lot of them. So there's not a lot of guys out. They're just not. They don't live in the same environment that we did when we were here.
Dave in Winder says, if you had to pick one, what facet of the game do we need to take a step forward in this week?
Well, return game, I think we've left so much on the field in the return game. I think that's something we could improve on. Pooch punting was something that we didn't do great. I'd like to see us hit some play action shots and hit some play action things. And then defensively, I'd like to see us tackle better and get turnovers.
Drew kicked for you this past weekend, punted for you, Drew Miller. And Brett Thorson's still on the mend. Is there an update on Brett and possible return anytime soon?
We'll know when we know, when he's cleared, and we'll know more. But until then, we're going to keep trying to get better with both of them.
How's Drew handling all the situation? Looked like he had a lot of distance on his kicks last week.
Yeah, he hit the ball well. He hit his field zones. His distance didn't match his hang, which is critical. I think the fans just want to see how far somebody can kick it. But if you outkick your coverage, that's not a good thing. So we like for the distance to match hang, and he's got to continue to work on that.
Joseph in Athens has this question. We touched on this a little bit earlier. He was asking about how rewarding it was to see a blocked punt last Saturday. And we touched on that, talking about K.J. Bolden and Cash Jones getting in there, and then Terrell Foster recovering that punt. And you guys turned that into a touchdown.
Yeah, it's big when you generate a score through special teams. We call them momentum plays. We work really hard on special teams. I think everybody does. We try to differentiate ourselves by, putting our best players out there and putting a lot of pressure on you, because over the course of 15-game season or 100-game 10-year span, you can win a lot of games on special teams, and we like to keep pressure on people at all times.
With the, I want to ask you a scheduling question. With the advent of a ninth conference game on the way, will we continue to see games like Marshall and like Austin Peay on the schedule, or will those be phased out for other reasons, because you're adding a conference game and you still have to play another Power 4 team? That's 10 games right there. What are those other two games going to look like in your opinion?
I think it depends on the year and how far out we're talking about. I mean, we're going to play Georgia Tech, as far as I know. That's going to continue, right? And then you like to have another opportunity to play an opener or a big time kickoff neutral site game. We've played in a lot of those. I enjoy those. I think that still leaves one more if I'm doing my math right. And who knows? Who knows what media's controlled this thing, and television's done a lot with this thing. There's been a lot of exposure, and who knows what the future holds.
It's Georgia and Austin Peay on Saturday afternoon at 3:30. Dog walk at 1:15. And airtime here on the radio network will be 11:30 for pregame programming. So it's a full day of Georgia football for you right here. We hope you can join us in some aspect of your Saturday afternoon, either in the stadium or on the radio or some other method. Glad to have you along tonight here on Bulldogs Live, the show presented by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll step aside, come back for one more segment with the coach before we turn it over to the Bulldogs All-Stars. Back in a moment here on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Thanks for being with us tonight. Back with Coach Smart here for one final segment here in this first hour. Hashtag Ask Coach Smart is how you can get your social media questions to us. Or if you are in the audience, you might be lucky enough, like Raquel, to ask a question. Hi, Raquel. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi,
There
Coach.
you go. Hey.
With all the demands on your time from leading a team, managing staff, dealing with the media, recruiting, how do you balance it all while still leading effectively?
Woo. Take a deep breath a lot of times. I have a lot of help. That's the number one way. So I've got an unbelievable staff. Our staff is humongous. People think, oh, you got coaches. Well, we've got training staff. We've got academic staff. We've got player development staff. We have strength staff. We have nutrition staff. I mean, we have a humongous staff. So I rely on them for input, feedback, manage your time. Time management is really the best skill that ever been given to anybody, is how do you spend your time. But I say it every week, but probably what's important now saves me, because when I get too much on my plate, I just try to take a deep breath and say, all right, what do I have to do right now, and try to play catch up.
Thank you, Coach.
Raquel, thanks. Appreciate you being here tonight. Yeah, that time management thing, is that in the players' DNA yet? Are they able to handle that pretty well at this level?
The older ones, I think they figure it out. It's usually a challenge for the young guys. The young guys have that look in their eye a lot of times in meetings like they're falling asleep, and I realize that they haven't quite conquered that time management yet.
We've got about a minute to go. Just get your final thoughts on what you want to see and what you expect from the weekend coming up against Austin Peay.
Yeah, I want to see the guys go out and attack and play fast and execute what the plan we're asking them to. I'm hoping to play with a little less nerves and get the guys that are out there more prepared for what's getting ready to be a gauntlet. I mean, we're getting ready to go straight weeks and weeks in a row of SEC play, and we know how tough that is. So we're trying to improve our depth. We're trying to improve our team, and we're trying to play a better overall game than we did last week.
Yeah, that getting guys on the field to get them snaps began last week. I'm sure you were pleased with that, getting as many as you did in the Marshall game. That's got to help a lot.
Yeah, it gives confidence. It gives them something to look at and see where they can improve, and I think that's important in everybody's development to get that.
Well, hopefully, full respect for the opponent, but hopefully that's the case again this week as Georgia hosts Austin Peay. Hopefully it's a good showing by the Bulldogs, and we want to see you there at Sanford Stadium on Saturday afternoon. Game time will be 3:30. Coach, thanks for your time as always. Go get them this weekend. Good luck.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Go Dogs.